Well, indeed, joining us live in the studio to discuss the performance of not just football, but sport in general in the calendar year 2018 is the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports, Barrister Solomon Dalung. It's nice to have you live on CBC News.
It's a pleasure, Nigerians.
Well, let's go straight to the crux of the matters. As the sports minister, do you think as a country we've been able to invest enough over the years in sports to take it from the perceived recreational to the big business, to the industry as expected across the globe?
Well, Nigeria is still developing in this ignorance of perceiving sports from the perspective of recreation. And unfortunately, even policy makers and implementers still see sports as a recreation. We are yet to appreciate the significance of sports as a big business. And this is reflected in our attitude to investment in sports, in our budgetary attitude. I mean, if you look at the entire budget for the sports ministry in a whole year, it's not up to 10% of a budget of the so-called major ministries. But the fact still remains that, I mean, the foundation of our unity, the fulcrum of our unity, which creates the enabling environment for us to assume to invest, whether in infrastructure or anything, is sports. And so we need that unity of purpose to be able to. So to be honest, I don't think we have come to terms with sports as business.
Okay, it's the last day of the month and incidentally the last day in the calendar year 2018. So I'm talking to the right person at this point in time to assess the sports industry in the calendar year 2018. The Super Eagles participated in the FIFA World Cup. We had Nigeria participating in the bobsled Winter Olympic sports, for the very first time in history, and also the Tigers, the women's basketball team, making some good outing. Your general assessment of sports in the calendar year 2018?
Well, 2018, to be honest, has been a very friendly year to the sporting family, and sports has actually moved to the next level. We started the year with the WAFU competition, and our team returned with a silver medal, which was, I mean, setting the tune of the good tidings that followed the year. We went for the African Championship competition in Morocco. And,
the CHAN tournament?
Yeah. The CHAN competition, which is Africa Championship in Morocco. And Nigeria also did very well. We came back with silver. The World Wrestling Championship, which took place in Port Harcourt.
Nigeria hosted for the very first time the African
Nigeria hosted for the first time, and we topped the medal table. One aspect of sports in Nigeria that is growing very fast is wrestling. We are having so many young people coming up. We went for the Commonwealth Games. Nigeria did wonderfully well with a very smaller contingent. I mean, but if you look at the performances of our team, it was quite interesting. Whether from table tennis, down to wrestling, down to track and field. I mean, we have young Nigerians that set records. We went for the World Cup. Yes. I mean, the qualification of the World Cup is also something that is interesting. For the first time in our history, we qualified for the World Cup with a match to Spain. And without the internal wrangling that will usually associate such occasion. This, the team affirmed to the president when they were seeing the president before leaving for Russia.
Okay.
Even though we crashed out in Russia
In the group stages.
at the group stages, I mean, our outing was significant.
Well, if you're saying significant, for the purpose of history, and we want to quote you in the future, in the past we've had a presidential task force, being set up to ensure that the Super Eagles are motivated to qualify for the World Cup. And then you see them getting taxpayers' money to get dollars and all that. Well, in this dispensation, it was a different ballgame entirely. Are you saying that going forward, if the Super Eagles are involved in such qualification, it is not necessary to set up a presidential task force where they will get some extra amount of money?
Well, we are in a country where we don't recognize initiatives and innovations. I mean, when you come up with ideas that radically change things, our people hardly appreciate, especially the enlightened segment of our society. When the idea of the presidential task force was brought to me, I questioned it. I questioned it because I don't know why with a minister sitting, we still need a presidential task force to be able to mobilize our team to secure a ticket for the World Cup. I assured Nigerians that if I failed to deliver that ticket, I would resign. Well, so many people, look and said, oh, it's a joker. But of course, they had the joke.
Okay.
Yeah. We qualified without a presidential task force. At the last time we had a presidential task force, about 10 billion was raised.
So going forward, are you saying the most populous black nation on earth does not need a presidential task force committee to qualify for the World Cup?
It is not necessary. It is not needed. It is just a mere jamboree.
On a final note, before I let you go, the world eventually saw the National Sport Festival in Abuja in the month of December after so many delays. Your take on the National Sport Festival, despite some criticism that it was declared open, by the Honorable Minister for Sports, where a lot of athletes, foreign-based athletes, were allowed to participate. Your take on this?
Well, we were trying to revive a festival that had been abandoned for 6 solid years. We were about losing the 3rd edition. And we will not necessarily need to hold on to certain rules that will constitute distraction. All that I was interested was, first, let us revive the festival. Then we will go in and look at other issues. Coming back to the issue of making it open, I deliberately wanted the festival to remain open because, for 6 years, we had no national records. And there were people who rose without a national record to either becoming Olympians or participating in international competitions. They should come back home and test their popularity. And I was proved right. So many great men and women tested their popularity, and they were humbled. Their records were challenged, and we had new national records holder. So how will you fault me? For the National Sports Festival, posterity will vindicate Solomon Dalung.
I must say very big thank you, Honourable Minister for Youth and Sport, Barrister Solomon Dalung, for being a part of the news this afternoon.